Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this impromptu podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Noof Nukem, and yes, it's been a while. And I promise I won't be here long. I won't keep you up tonight or, take too much time out of your evening. But I do thank you for being here. If you're obviously willing to come out and check this out, certainly you enjoy hearing your feedback. I hope that we can keep it constructive. Um, it's definitely been difficult being away from the podcast scene for a while. There's no question about it. I do miss it at times, and I certainly miss a lot of you guys and gals and all the people that have supported me over the years. Iceman, what's happening, brother? Good to see you. This is just one of those things that I felt like maybe I should, jump on and say a few words and just kind of clear the air, or at least, put my 2 cents out there. And not that it's worth a damn anymore, but it's just good to be here and just kind of clear the air on a few things. Can you guys hear me just fine? What's going on, Wicked Hot? Good to see you, my brother. Let me know if the audio is okay. I think it's okay. I did a brief test there, but yeah. So here we are, and well, you know what? There is some truth to it. I think Xbox, as we certainly have known it or have gotten used to, is dead to some degree. There's definitely been a lot of changes in the brand, but I mean, my point of view is I just don't know how we've gotten to this point. I don't know how we've gotten to this point. I mean, just what, 2 years ago, maybe a little bit less than 2 years ago, I remember how excited that Xbox fans were that, one, Game Pass was going great, revenue streams were good. Then we, of course, finalized all the details with the Bethesda acquisition. And then ultimately, like I said, had the Activision Blizzard deal, finalized this late last year there. Joe Dunmore, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. So I just don't know really what's been going on. I don't know. I mean, it's rare for Xbox to be as quiet as they've been over the past while. And I know they got a big show coming up here on in June, which I'm, I guess, semi excited for. But I guess for me, I just don't know how we've gotten to this point. Even devout Xbox fans, I wouldn't say turn on the brand per se, but we're very disillusioned with what's happening, and I feel that. I posted on Twitter earlier today. It feels like Phil Spencer saved the brand, but only to dig another hole and bury it somewhere else. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, he has a lot of input into what happens with the brand, and we know that he listens to fans to a certain degree. But how much can he do about what feedback is coming from the fans? Is one of those questions that I wish I could get an honest answer from a guy like that. To sit down with him and find out like how much power or sway do you have within the company, and this is largely Satya Nadella's, doing, and you're just overseeing things. Like I don't know. To me, Xbox is a brand, but Xbox is also. It is a console. To me, it's always represented. I mean, ever since Xbox has essentially been out, from the Xbox One down through, Xbox is known for having typically great hardware, minus, like I said, the Red Rings of Death thing with the 360. But we've had great hardware. We've had powerful hardware. Every console that basically we've owned has in some way been a driving force for future consoles. They've always done different things a little bit differently to sort of lead the way or pioneer certain things. Going back to the 360, the Xbox Live dashboard, the 360 with the detachable hard drive and the memory cards and all that sort of thing. And then the Xbox, the original Xbox, right, having a hard drive built in. It was the first of its kind. A lot more power, all that sort of stuff. Anthony Luzzi, how are you, man? Good to see you here. Thanks so much for stopping by. So, do you know what I mean? And then we had the Xbox One, again, another pioneer. It had this really good Kinect, which obviously got trashed and shit on quite early, but the Kinect was certainly the least of the Xbox One's problems. Obviously, the messaging was not very clear during the Xbox One launch. When it came to the DRM, we certainly all know the plight of the Don Matrick era and how they were emphasizing TV. And I feel like it almost started there. The pinnacle part there, like if you look at it, right, was the messaging was wrong with the Xbox One, and to some degree it carried over. Phil Spencer spent the best part of those years, the Xbox One era, basically trying to right the ship, erase the wrongs, and get the sort of the brand back on track, which to some degree I think he largely did with the addition of the Xbox Series X. Phenomenal console to this day. I don't think was ever truly utilized or tapped in fully, but amazing console. Delivered some definitely great performance. Was way ahead of the PlayStation 4 Pro. We were getting some really good games toward the end of the Xbox One generation. And, unfortunately, like I said, the big downfall right off the get-go with when it came to the Xbox Series, even the PlayStation 5 to that degree, one of the big pitfalls right off the hop was the fact that, both consoles launched during COVID and the shutdowns. And I feel like, those basically 2 years were very tough on the manufacturers, and also at the same time were kind of rewarding. And what I mean by that is companies that were lucky enough to be far enough along in development, some of those games got a lot more praise and hype and, did really, really well simply because of the timing, right? They came out during a time when everybody was at home and most people were playing games and stuff like that. And I think that, that paid huge dividends there, right? Same thing with the console sales. The console sales, were skyrocketing for a little while there, largely because everybody wanted to buy something. And, it came down to whichever manufacturer was able to produce enough of these things fast enough at the time to get them in the stores, right? I totally agree with you, Joe, that Xbox did move a little bit faster at times. Xbox tried to pioneer a lot of times, but sometimes the problem with that is, when you're not the leader, in terms of Xbox is doing great in revenue, but revenue doesn't always necessarily translate to things for gamers. It's good for their bottom line. It's good for their stockholders, good for their share prices. Doesn't always translate into great things for gamers. But from a console standpoint, from a mind share, not loan market share, but mind share standpoint, PlayStation's been running away with it, right? And this is the thing that Xbox sort of failed to get back. I feel that they've spent far too much time worrying about what games are going to be in Game Pass and how to promote Game Pass over just making great games and making sure that everybody could play them, including the old-fashioned fogies like myself who obviously, wanted to go out and buy a physical copy. That option should always be there for every single game, certainly games that you publish. I can understand a little small third party developer or a little indie developer not putting a game on a disc. But as far as stuff that is published by you guys, anything out of your camp should have as many options as possible for people to play. That's their whole mantra, right? So I don't know, and every time I have an opinion on the X app, I get absolutely firecrackered over this thing, right? People just attack me left, right, and center, and it's just my opinion. I never said I was right. I'm not saying anybody else is right or anybody else is wrong. I'm not attacking other people for their lack of opinions, or I shouldn't say lack of opinions, but for their opinions. That's their opinion. But I feel that somewhere along the line, we did not stick up for this brand. We didn't voice our opinions properly, and Xbox is just doing things the wrong way. And it might work. Again, I feel, the Xbox, the stuff that Xbox is doing is working really well for people that want to play 1,000,001 games, that have all the time in the world, that have maybe a lack of a budget and need to be on Game Pass, but but there's just not enough emphasis on the console. There isn't enough marketing for the console. Like, it's not that people don't want an Xbox console, but why did it trail? My question, and people need to answer this, is why did it become so bad for Xbox? How the fuck did Xbox? Yeah, they might have always been in third place, but do you ever remember a time when Xbox was failing this miserably across the board in all the countries, trailing behind? You know, and Nintendo is a proven fact. You don't even need the best hardware. You don't even need the most powerful hardware. People want your product if you have great games. But when you're constantly letting the console owners feel like, you know, fucking almost third class citizens, that this is where this shit starts to get fuzzy. And I don't understand why people are not more upset, that people aren't more like me and calling shit out and wondering what the fuck is going on and where is your marketing department? Where are people answering? Because I don't see anything. I just see blanket statements and crazy crap and just nothing. And it's a big mistake for them. If they think they're walking away from, oh, we're the small majority of fans, yeah, they might be right. We are maybe a small fragment of the pie, but we're also the vocal minority. We are also the people that buy thousands of dollars of hardware and controllers and accessories. We're the people that help them pioneer their visions and help them pioneer their dashboards and help them pioneer all these things that they want to bring to the masses. We are the ones who do that. We are the ones who help the way. And I feel like, no, maybe a lot of you guys are okay with Xbox being a brand. It's just a brand now. But to me, Xbox is more than more. Xbox, again, is excellence. Xbox is innovation. Xbox is a console, right? That was their primary focus. And guess what? When the console was their primary focus, long before the PC became this, you know, thing for them, the console was destroying things. We were getting great versions of games. We were getting lots of exclusives. We were getting lots of third-party support. We were getting Japanese support. We were getting all this stuff together. There's no coincidence here. Or, you know, like, it's just frustrating, you know. And guys, when you got big Xbox fans, whether you love them or you hate them, like Tim Dog and Crap Gamer, who can see right through this bullshit and are calling it out, you know there's something direly wrong. You know, we don't speak ill of a product just because, oh, for shits and giggles. For me, I'm not doing this podcast to get ratings or anything else. I'm not getting anything out of this. You know, I get no money for any of this crap. I'm just here just because I wanted to do this. One, because I missed you guys, and two, you know, I just wanted to get my feelings out. And I just really don't understand how or why Xbox is faltering. And I feel that all of us fans are playing a role into it because we're not being vocal enough. We are kind of accepting status quo. I mean, this whole Starfield thing, right off the bat there, that should tell you a lot. They told us that they didn't have enough time to implement 60, and it was part of the developer's vision that it was that they couldn't do 60. The 30 was great for the game, and blah blah blah. And now we're starting to see that a few months after the game has come out, over half a year since the game has come out, now there's potentially a 60 frames mode on the horizon. So what does that tell you? It's possible. And if it was all about the vision, they wouldn't even bother with the 60 frames mode. But let me guess, they got to have a 60 frames per second mode available when they decide to port the game over to PlayStation, right? They got to make sure that PlayStation is going to have a really good version when it gets there. And heck, it might even be better than the friggin' Xbox version because we're seeing that shit too. And you tell me that any of that makes any sense. That Xbox versions are the Xbox versions of these games are coming out worse. Like, explain that to me, please. Right? What is going on? I don't see any. Like Hellblade, for another example. Hellblade 2 should be the biggest release for Xbox potentially this year, or certainly one of them. It's their first release in months. Where is the marketing? We're already into the May 2nd already. This game comes out in about 3 weeks' time, and I see shit. I've heard shit. All I see are like weird. I'm certainly not seeing. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing stuff about the game. Do you know what I mean? 60 frames, but not smooth. Well, I think a lot of us would take even 60 frames, um, running to some degree than not at all, right? So I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. Um, like it's just disappointing, and I feel like a lot of Xbox guys, and I hate to speak ill of 'em. I mean, I'm not doing this for shits and giggles. You guys know me. I've been Xbox since day one. Anybody who's watched my podcast since day one knows that I'm a hardcore, diehard Xbox fan. I'm not doing this, or I'm not saying this to get hits and likes or start some weird debate. That's not what I'm doing it for. I'm disappointed because I am one of those few fans that are you know I'm one of those few fans that has always been honest, has always spoke from the heart, whether my opinions are right or wrong, but I've always spoke from the heart, right? So me doing this podcast today is not going to change a damn thing, but maybe some of you guys can at least identify with how I feel, and maybe feel the same way. And I still want to support the brand to a certain extent, but I can tell you right now, I think my Game Pass just expired, and I have zero intention to actually buy Game Pass again. I won't say never, never say never, as they always say, but as far as I'm concerned right now, I'll probably buy a couple of well, I'd like to say exclusives, but I don't even know if they're going to be exclusive, because I certainly feel that Hellblade 2 is going to come to PlayStation in just a matter of time. I'm not spending more money. I'm certainly not going to give Microsoft any more money than necessary. So I'm going to spend most of my money now. It's going to be in the PlayStation Marketplace and in that ecosystem, because right now that's honestly where I feel like I'm being abused less or taken advantage of less. And PlayStation is not perfect by any means. Don't worry. I'm very, very adept and very cognizant of all of their crazy price schemes and some of their bullshit too. They are certainly not perfect. But one thing is for sure, that PlayStation still, despite, yes, they've had to change and they've had to adopt some of the Xbox policies themselves and some of the Xbox things. But if you watch PlayStation, they still largely put their emphasis behind the console. Even walking into Walmart a couple of days ago, I picked up a copy of Stellar Blade, and guess what? Lots of copies in the shelf. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I almost wanted to clap my fucking hands. There was actually more than one or two games in the shelf to buy, right? And I did, right? I bought a copy of Stellar Blade, and I'm going to play it, and I'm damn well going to enjoy it. I don't care if I'm enjoying it for the amazing combat or for those amazing bouncing titties, but I will enjoy that game. Where is that on Xbox, right? Where is this kind of stuff on Xbox? Yes, I also get it. Sony was a dirty bitch, and money had at that game and kept it off of Xbox. But point in fact, here's Xbox giving PlayStation games to put on their ecosystem. Sony's over there paying money to keep shit off of Xbox. So how is that a win for Xbox gamers at all, right? For the guns and the titties, baby. Matt Silburn, what's going on? Xbox is. I guess they're going to go third party, or they're gonna become just a brand entity, because I think this shit with the console is just about over. They might be telling us they're going to make one more console, but literally, with the way things are dying so quickly right now for the Series X, is there any hope for the next console at this point? Is there any hype? Why would people go out and buy one even? Most people that I know now have already said they moved off the PC. So this becomes the lingering question, is why own Xbox? What makes Xbox different? Now, I will give it this. The one thing that has and always made Xbox different is sometimes just the community itself. Some of the best friends I've ever played games with and still play games with today are in this chat right now. Perry, you know who you are, Mr. Game Complainers. We got Iceman in this chat. Joe Dunmore's in here. Some of you guys have played games with, some of you guys have continued to play games with. That's part of their strength, is they've had this ecosystem, they've had this online. Xbox has always done great with that, and that's one of the few things that they, thank God, they haven't actually screwed the fuck up, right? That's something that still works today. It's gone through a variety of changes, but something like that, right? Yeah, why even bother with the digital Series X? That's a great question. Why even bother with this? Who's going to buy it? Seriously, who's going to buy that thing? Nobody even wants the current one. Well, it's going to be a little bit cheaper because it doesn't have a disk drive. Honestly, to me, I'm glad mine does have a disk drive, because in another year or so, the only thing my Xboxes are basically going to be good for is watching 4K Blu-rays. That's about it. You know, honestly, so I don't want to sell my Xboxes. I've got a lot of games stored on there. As like I said, I still have a lot of friends, but my Game Pass I think just expired, and I don't have intention to pick it up, which means I can't even do community game nights, because um, I won't even have the core. I don't want to pay them anything. I don't want to give them another damn dime, because this is the problem. We're giving them money for what? Some of you guys are totally happy. Yes, you can play all of these games. But seriously, how many games are you actually playing on Game Pass? How much time do you even have to play a majority of those games on Game Pass? I get it. Maybe you discover the odd indie here and there, that sort of fucking thing, and you're really enjoying it. Something that maybe you wouldn't have spent 20 or 30 bucks on and saved you some money. But either which way, it got some exposure for an indie, but it does nothing for the indie if you don't buy it. So, the Xbox 360 store shutting down. I mean, that fucking sucks. And look, it's just a matter of time before other things shut down, right? I mean, it's just just a matter of time. I don't know, man. Like I said, when you're watching guys like Tim Dog get extremely upset with this, and like I said, there's nothing he can do about it. We can't change the course of direction. It's happening. We get it. They're in business to make money. But the funny thing is and it's just like the movie industry, right? The movie industry is sort of hurting too, right? They can't figure out why people aren't going to the movies, and they think it's because people got superhero fatigue, or they got this fatigue and something else. And that's not it at all. You know why people don't go to the fucking movies? Because there's nothing really out there worth fucking watching, right? Yeah, man, I would love to have a conversation with Tim Dog on here, man. That would be absolutely fantastic. I haven't, been on with Tim Dog on a podcast in a very long time, and maybe that's something I'll reach out to him about. Maybe he'll give me a half an hour's time at some point, and we can. There is too many games. Just too many games, and Game Pass did not help our backlogs at all. Game Pass only complicated the matter. And I totally understand, and I'm never going to diss it. I get why Game Pass exists. But my point of the matter is Xbox put all of their eggs in that basket. Xbox, I told you from day one, they should have never done day and date. That's the first thing. Don't do day and date. Who cares? If Halo Infinite came out on Xbox Game Pass 6 months after it was in stores or on the digital marketplace, would that have been so bad? The people that really wanted those games, they would have went out and bought the copy. And that's a fact. You wanted to play Halo, you wanted to play Gears, you would have bought it day one, right? Game Pass totally annihilated that because people just didn't even buy it at all. They just went and got the rental version, I call it, and that's where it stayed. And again, if you stop subscribing to Game Pass, you can't play any of that shit. So you're hooked for life. You're hooked to making a constant payment. I guess that's something with me I've never really very much enjoyed. And it's not that I have a problem with subscriptions or making a payment here and there. My problem is now we have too many subscriptions in my life, right? And it's not just Xbox. I mean, just think of it. If you're subscribing to Game Pass, you've got PlayStation Plus, and you've got Nintendo. Just do the math of how much you're spending a month just to have their subscriptions. Then you're paying your money to have your internet fee alone, right? To bring it into your home. Then you're probably buying a WWE network. Then you're probably paying for Netflix. Then you're probably paying for Hulu. You might be paying for Amazon. You might be paying for something else. You see the point of it all. Like, it's just too much. And between gaming and movies and listening to music, whether it's Spotify or whatever it might be, there is not enough money and not enough fucking time to enjoy any of this shit. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's just like me just giving money for nothing. It's like me walking into a store and wanting a Pepsi, but giving the person $5 for the Pepsi and saying, you know what? I don't have time to drink it. You just keep that money. I find that is kind of where we're at now. It's gotten from being a luxury to being now it's just too fucking much on it, right? Well, there are people that would do that, Iceman. And that's fine too, right? Either which way, they're going to subscribe to Game Pass and they'll wait till it comes out. But I think the vast majority of fans that really want something, they will buy it day one, and they'll use Game Pass to play all the other games that one they don't have time to, or they don't have the money. And that's how I've always done it with Game Pass. Like for me, right? I still went out and bought Psychonauts 2, even though the game was on Game Pass and I didn't have to buy Psychonauts 2. I really wanted to have a copy of that game. Thank God there was a publisher that made that, because Microsoft didn't. It was made by a third-party publisher that made that. It's like fucking, and that game was considered, see, this stuff drives me bonkers. That was a game that was up for Game of the Year nominee. It was a phenomenal game. And Microsoft didn't even publish that themselves. How the fuck do you explain that? How do you explain that? People, please, set this straight for me, please. Right? So, yeah, and Perry, like I said, man, I'm not against people buying digital. It doesn't, buying digital is fine. But the bottom line is, when you're buying digital or physical, you're buying the damn game, right? You're buying your game. You're buying it with the intent that you're going to play it today or in the future. And if you don't subscribe to something, you will still hopefully be able to access that, correct? That's kind of where we're at. I totally get it. That I'm not against. People are going to have their, I mean, honestly, I've considered almost pretty much going digital, and I'm not 100% against it. Sometimes it just makes sense. I mean, obviously, like having a physical library of games and controllers and everything else in your house is not always practical. I mean, heck, you don't have storage. But what's saying about storage, there's another problem in itself. These console makers aren't giving us enough storage, and yet at the same time, they're also not. They're not even being considerate with space on your consoles. These guys are bringing out games now that are averaging 100 gigabytes, and it's ridiculous. But here's Stellar Blade, a game that looks absolutely incredible. And guess what, guys? It's less than 40 gigabytes. There were games at launch on the Xbox One that were more than 40 gigabytes. Okay, so let that sink in. Stellar Blade, less than 40 gigs with those fucking graphics. So you tell me what the hell is going on out there. I don't understand the logistics of it all. This is just the way I feel. This is the way things that I see are perceived. And I just don't understand what Xbox is doing. I have nothing but, like I said, love and admiration for Phil Spencer. He seems like a great guy. I've had a chance, like I said, once in my life to play a game with him. It was Destiny, and we had a great chat. But boy, how things have changed even since that chat. That was during the Xbox One era. And I felt like the company was even so much different in the last generation of consoles than where they are now. And I feel it's a crying shame, because I do feel like the Series X is an absolutely dynamite console. Even the Series S, for that matter, is a great little machine. It's designed well. It might be a fairly short game. I'm sure it's not one of those 60-hour games, Iceman. But at the same time, it's nice to see a refreshing game. I mean, hell, Call of Duties aren't very long. You can beat the campaign on that, and their games are always friggin' 150 gigabytes. It's just optimization in a lot of cases. It's the way developers optimize games, and it's how they use a bunch of features. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a developer, so it's hard to say. But, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like ultimately that, I feel like the people that are in this chat right now, some of the guys still doing podcasts similar to myself, I feel like we are a large part of the reason that Xbox had any success to begin with. We are the kind of people that bought into the system long before the internet made it popular. We are the people that went out and bought the games. We are the people that stayed up to midnight launch. We are the people that bought the Elite controllers. We are the people that bought their headsets. We are the people that pretty much support it and bought everything about Xbox. We bought all their new damn games when they came out on day one. We paid full price for everything. Do you know what I'm saying? We spent thousands of dollars. People can say, well, you got 1 million people paying $17 a month for a subscription. It's going to make lots. Yeah, it makes lots of money. There is no question. And it's always nice to have a steady income. But if you make a great game, right? If you make a great game, you promote it properly, you market it properly, great games will sell, right? And it's even better if you've got a great property to go with it. Let's talk about the new Blade, right? Coming out. So it's not Spider-Man. Blade is not going to have the same mass appeal as Spider-Man. But how is that game going to come out? And how are they going to promote that? Right? It is a Marvel property. You know, it's a character that speaks volumes to a lot of people, and certainly to the minority demographic. You know, being a black vampire in the game, and I'm excited for it. I think it could have potential. But how are they going to market that? And what are they going to do with that? Is that going to be a multi-plat game, which is a possibility? But the bottom line is, if they make a great game, it's going to sell. I think Halo Infinite itself would have sold a lot better than it did if it had not have been put on Game Pass on day and date. I think it would have sold several million copies because it's Halo, and it's one of the most recognizable games in the world. And then they would have, they would have got subs. They would have got more subs maybe 6 or 7 months later when they put the game in Game Pass. They would have had an influx. I don't see it wrong with even a 6-month lead time. Generally for me, like games that I really like, I'm not waiting 6 months. If I want a game, I'm going to buy it day one. I ain't waiting 6 months to play something I really want to play. I'm going to buy it day one, right? And yes, man, I definitely miss the midnight releases so much. The fake outrage. I'm not outraged about nothing there, ice dip shit in the chat. I'm just telling the way I feel about things, dude. You know? And you can come at me all you want. I'm getting lots of that right now. I'm getting lots of you guys that have no morality, no loyalty, no fucking homage to anything. You just like cheap games. You're probably one of those PC fucking pricks that fucking pirates all the fucking shit, right? I've always said that back in the day too, that all you dipshits out there that fucking games could be 25 fucking cents. You wouldn't pay 25 cents if you could get it for free, right? Lying pony. But you obviously don't watch my podcast enough to know what I'm talking about. So you might as well take your fucking sorry ass stink bomb and get out of here, man. Because I don't need your bullshit. You can agree or disagree, my friend. But you want to come in here, with your attitude. I'll give it right back to you, man. I'm not faking anything. You want to find a fake? Come to my house. I'll give you my address. I'll give you a fake knuckle sandwich upside your fucking head and snap some sense back into you. You dingledorf. Right? No, a lot of this, like fucking people that chastising me online all the time for what? Did you listen to me? Were you a fan of my podcast way back in the day when I had nothing but praises for Xbox? When I praised them for the sun and the moon? No, nobody remembers that Nukem, do they? Because that's when Xbox actually meant something to people. That's when the fucking brand meant something to people. That's when their fucking properties were awesome. And they were awesome because they had fans that backed them on day one. And they were awesome because they had fucking developers that fucking actually give a shit about their games. I keep saying about Rare. Let's look at Rare. How did Rare go from being one of the most prestigious game developing companies to being where they're at today? Yeah, somebody gave me shit last week because I ragged them out over, they're promoting their new barn. What was it? They made a barn with solar panels or some fucking thing. Fine and dandy. Great. You got this new economical solar powered fucking toilet shit place. Who the fuck knows, right? But David R, what's going on, man? Maybe you came in at the wrong time. But this is the kind of bullshit. This is the kind of bullshit Xbox has spent time promoting. And outside of Sea of Thieves, what have we seen from fucking Rare? Nothing. I know why they're fucking Rare, because it's rare that we ever get a fucking game from these guys. It's been almost 10 years since Sea of Thieves came out, for fuck's sakes, or since they started development, I should say. It hasn't been out for 10 years as a game. But look at that. They spent nearly 10 years making Sea of Thieves. Game came out fucking nearly broken, half-assed, had nothing. It had the fucking Kraken didn't even have a body, if anybody remembers that, right? The Kraken didn't even have a fucking body. But people defended that fucking shit too. Oh, no, like this is the state of gaming. This is not just an Xbox thing. This is a lot of companies, mind you. This is a lot of companies doing the same bullshit, spending 5 years to make a game and bringing it out fucking half-assed. You know what? Redfall might have actually been received a lot better if it had to come out as a half-decent game. Now, Starfield is probably going to finally get some recognition it deserves when it finally gets a few add-ons and a 60 fucking frames per second patch. But by then, who gives a shit? This is the thing. Like, most people just don't give a shit. The only reason Fallout 4 is popular again right now is because the TV show is making it popular. But it's kind of funny how the Halo show didn't really make Halo a lot more popular, did it? Oh man, my throat is getting dry. Xbox got 40 games coming. Well, that speaks volumes. Xbox got 40 games coming there, ice cold, and nobody gives a fucking shit. Nobody's even going to run out and buy an Xbox to play them, are they? So what does that tell you? PlayStation got nothing coming out, and yet they're still killing it in console sales. So what does that tell you? That even old exclusives, whether it's Sony or PlayStation, still hold more weight than new exclusive on Xbox. Why? Because no one gives a shit about Xbox. No one cares about a console. You're going to play them on your PC. You're going to play them on your little tablet. You're going to play them anywhere but a fucking Xbox console, right? That's where you're going to play all this shit, right? This is the problem. They don't prioritize the console. I'm not saying it's not like they don't put stuff in other places. That's not it at all. I'm not saying you got to keep stuff off of PC. But you know what? Why don't you prioritize? That's all you have to do, is prioritize the console first for a change. Advertise it on Xbox. Later on, you say it's coming to PC. Later on, it's coming to Game Pass. Later on, whatever. People will run out to buy the console if they feel that the console has more value than just this, 14 teraflop processor that basically does what? Runs nothing better than a fucking than the One X did. Because most of my games, seriously. Hey, what's going on, Draven Arrow? Yeah, exactly like Perry said. Maybe just give us more controllers against that. That's the reason to own an Xbox, because we got more controllers. Like, seriously, dude. Like, honestly, man. Look, and I'm sorry for going off the handle, dude, but you gotta read between the lines. If you love Game Pass and you're happy for Game Pass, that's all fucking fine and dandy, man. Like, all the more power to you. But same energy for PlayStation. Well, let me see. I've called out PlayStation many a times when they've been fucking up. I've had lots of podcasts explaining it. But honestly, right now, at the end of the day, and then it's just my honest opinion, I'm happier with my PlayStation 5 than I am my Xbox. Like I said, right now, the biggest reason I would even turn on my Xbox is for the ecosystem. It's for the friends that I have on there. But at the same time, like I said, after today, I think my Game Pass subscription is up, and I feel zero need to actually resubscribe. For what? If I want a game, I will go out and buy it on day one. I've done that since the beginning of time. If I wanted a game, I went out and bought it on day one, from the Xbox to the 360 to the Xbox One, and now the Series consoles. And that isn't going to change. And you know what? When I won't buy the game day one, it's probably because Microsoft didn't put a fucking game in the cabinet for me to buy. Heck, we're lucky we even get them on the digital store day one nowadays without some kind of loophole, right? Honestly, I'd be more interested in the next Xbox handheld at this point, as long as it has some sort of storage, where you can play a game natively and not have to rely on an internet connection. I'd probably consider that, So look, my opinions aren't overly popular. Certainly not with the Xbox crowd. It just seems to be okay with all the lies and the bullshit that Xbox seems to get away with right now. And to me, that's how I perceive them, as lies and bullshit. Because we keep hearing one story on one show, and 2 or 3 months later, the same shit's is not. There's no games coming to PlayStation. There'll be on Xbox. And then all of a sudden there's games on PlayStation. And guess what? There's a couple. But you can start to see the writing on the wall. There's a couple today. There'll be a couple tomorrow. And eventually, pretty much all the games will be on there, especially if they got a multiplayer component. And why is that? Because if they're crossplay, they could stand to make a lot more money by having people from the PlayStation ecosystem supporting them with that, right? So it's getting silly, man. It's just silly, and I just feel like it's between podcasters, between certain podcasters out there. Look, even my buddy the Meg, he hasn't been making he's on one of the biggest Xbox podcasts out there, XNC, and he isn't holding back. He does not like where Xbox has been going. Tim Dog doesn't like it. Crap Gamer doesn't like it. A lot of people don't like it. There's people in this chat that don't really like the direction of Xbox. What does that tell you? Do they not listen to anything? They can please the casual fans. They can still make the games and make all that shit for the casual fans and still keep the hardcore people happy. The whole reason they make a lot of these consoles anyway is essentially for the hardcore, my people. Yeah, same people telling you one thing one month and then tell you something different afterwards. Yeah, and then sort of make up an excuse or a story. We heard enough story. Remember, when all the games, the performances, when it was all about the performance didn't run well on Xbox. So for months we heard all these big tech-savvy YouTube people saying it's all about the tools and they're coming and Xbox games will eventually run and look a hell of a lot better than they do in the competition. Well, guess what fucking happened to that narrative? No, now there's something else now. Now that's there's and whether it's the PlayStation community or the Xbox community, there's one thing about a variety of people that are especially in the YouTube circle. They like to move the fucking goalposts. The goalposts have moved so many times. They're not even on the field anymore. They're actually setting them up on the fucking moon as we speak, right? Yeah, my dick broke. It's got to be the tools. My dick only runs at 2 frames a second. It runs at 4 on the PlayStation because they have better tools. Now, right now, to me, the only tools are the fucking people that run these companies because they're too busy listening to the fucking shareholder dipshits in the corporate head office and listening to actual real fans. If I'm Xbox, I don't listen to a fucking thing a Fortnite kid says. You know what I mean? Those kids aren't buying games. You know what they do? They don't even buy the actual game. They get a free game and then they spend like a fucking $500 million on fucking overpriced skins. People that are playing Minecraft and Fortnite and Roblox and all that shit are spending money, but they're not actually buying fucking games. They're not actually buying consoles. Their mom's got to buy them that fucking console. Like, this is what they're doing, right? They're just, it's horseshit. Oh man, Iceman gets his tools at the Home Depot. Well, there's people crying all right, and I'm not over here shedding any fucking tears. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shed a lot less money because I'm just not going to be spending my money on something that's branded Xbox. And anybody who knows me knows pretty well when I sort of get on one of those I'm not spending money on something kind of tantrums, I don't. I'm one of those people who does. I shouldn't say put your money where your mouth is. I don't put my money there. That's the thing. I won't invest on a company or a product that isn't investing back into its fans. It's like these electric fucking stupid vehicles, right? They're only going to get as popular as the people that are going to go out there and drive the industry with them, right? Right now, oil and gas is still the way to go, and natural resources and that energy is still the way to go at this point in time. I'm not saying electric vehicles won't be it in the future. At some point in time, there may have to be a change for 100 different ways. But right now, the technology and the infrastructure and everything is not ready for electric vehicles. And you know what? And we're not ready for console-less futures just yet. Again, if somebody wants to lead the charge, I don't think it should always be the third place company that has to try to change. The problem is Microsoft keeps trying to change the game, but realizes 1 or 2 years after the fact that most people aren't playing their game. That's the problem. They're not playing their game or their games, right? They'd rather be on the competition. And why is that? Because it's called mindshare. It's called mindshare, people. It's about peace of mind. When you see ads all the time and they're for the competition, you see all these exclusives, and you see that exclusive word marketed everywhere. It means something to people, right? Dark Lord, what's going on? Right? Oh, Sony's got their big nut sacks all over things too, man. And I've called them out a billion times. I'm not a big fan of some of their practices either. But we'll use PlayStation Plus, for example, right? To get PlayStation Plus, right? In order to get fans to bite in, right? Because the original one, PlayStation 3, right? We all remember that when PlayStation 3 came up with their online, it was free. And that was one of the biggest selling features of the PlayStation 3 over the Xbox. That's actually why some people that I knew had it over Xbox. It wasn't because they didn't like Xbox more. It was because, oh, well, we could play games online for free, and that was great. But Sony kind of was like, yeah, you know what? We can't keep giving away the online for free because it costs money to maintain servers, and it was a great way to keep people invested in the overpriced PS3 at the time. So they came up with the free games, and that was sort of a little bonus, and it was an added feature. That's one of the few things that Xbox ever copied from PlayStation, was to come up with Xbox Live Gold and put games on it. And Xbox started out and did really well for the first while. But then in the last part of it, especially after Game Pass, and I've called this out in the past, and I was one of the first to see it come. And I said, look, when Game Pass comes, Games with Gold is going to go right down the shitter. And sure enough, it pretty much did go down the shitter. Right? But you know what? I look at all the games, and I was showing one of my friends the other night. You know, I'm paying the same price for PlayStation Plus I was playing for Xbox, but I'm getting all these amazing fucking AAA games on PlayStation Plus, and I was getting garbage on Xbox. And sometimes the only time you would get a decent game on Games of Gold was an old game that everybody fucking already owned like 3 years prior to, right? So, you know, so Game Pass gives you 6 games a week. Yeah, and mostly shit games at that. Look, bottom line, they're giving you shit games, even if it's 6 amazing games, you can't play all those fucking games, right? You're only going to have enough time to play 1 or 2 games. So I don't know what kind of life you got. If you got a job, you live in mommy's basement, I don't know. But honestly, Game Pass does not really work great for a lot of us. A lot of us working class folk do not have fucking hours and hours and hours to sit down and play games. And I'm not saying that Game Pass doesn't have benefits. I played some amazing games on Game Pass that I probably would have never played if it wasn't for being on the service. A game recently that comes to mind was Bramble. Loved it. Fantastic game. Highly recommended to anybody. If you haven't played it, check it out. Bramble's amazing. But then again, there's always that point too where a game comes to Game Pass, and then a few months later they take it away from Game Pass. It's out, and you're still forced to go and buy it, maybe at a decreased cost or whatever. But oh man, Gaming Grindhouse, what's going on, Jez? Good to see you here, brother. You know, like I said, guys, I'll make no bones about it. My opinions here will not be popular. They will ruffle some feathers, and they will certainly ruffle the feathers of Xbox fans who just somehow have been drinking the Kool-Aid and cannot see the writing on the wall here. And maybe you know why I feel a little more bitter toward this, perhaps than a lot of fans do, because a lot of us Xbox guys, we started as Sega guys, and we all remember how much money and how much time and how much effort we invested in the Sega's ecosystem. I owned every Sega system there was outside of the 32X I passed on because I got the Saturn. But, you know, I pretty much owned every Sega game, and I bought a shit ton of games, cartridges, discs, you name it. I invested so much in Sega, in the Sega Genesis, and then in the Sega Saturn. I invested a shit ton in the Dreamcast, and I absolutely loved it, only to watch them turn their backs on the fans and call it a day, and then basically start making games for the fucking competitor, right? Remember the day when Sonic went to Nintendo, and how we all were like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, maybe we don't think about it too much anymore. And maybe in 10 years when Halo is on PlayStation, I'm pretty sure it will come, we'll probably be the same way. Like, remember when Halo went to PlayStation? You know what? It's life. We all get over things eventually. Some people never do. You know, you can do or die or move on. And maybe in 10 years' time, I won't play any games anymore. You know, I'm at the point now where I don't have the time to invest in gaming like I used to. A lot of us are in the same boat, that we still love gaming. We're still passionate about it. But to spend 40 and 50 hours playing a game, and certainly one game, you know, it's kind of funny because I'm sitting here, guy buys a game on a fucking Friday and they're finished it before the next Friday rolls around. I'm over here like 5 hours into the game, maybe total, you know, and they're like, well, you got to play more games. Well, you tell me where I'm supposed to play games, man, unless I'm staying up 20 hours of the fucking day and I just do nothing but game when I get home from work, right? So, you know, just stay on Game Pass. Just wait. Games are coming right up our arses. Yeah, no, that's okay, man. Like I said, my Game Pass is expired, Rock, and I'm not resubscribing, dude. I'm gonna play my games on the PlayStation. You know, and I've always been a PlayStation guy too. You know, I didn't turn into some pony. I've always had PlayStation. I've had PlayStations. The only PlayStation I never bought at day one, only PlayStation, guys, was the original. I've had every single PlayStation since. I've had every console neck and neck. PS2 and Xbox, 360, PS3. I've always had all the consoles, man. I've owned everything. To call myself a neutral gamer, no, I wouldn't call myself neutral. And I've said this a billion times. I don't say I'm neutral because I've always had a preference for Xbox. I've always played my Xbox more. I've always bought more games and more accessories for Xbox. I've always did podcasts that were Xbox centric primarily. That sort of thing. So I've always been an Xbox guy first and foremost. But because, again, I'm not shitting on Xbox for the sake of, I'm shouldn't shit on Xbox because I'm just trying to get more hits or I'm trying to stir the pot and I'm trying to build a channel. Look, my channel is fucking dead and that's fine. I'm not here to build shit. I'm just passionate about it because I love it so much. That's the way it is. When you're passionate about it and you're maybe more critical or you look at things a little differently than some people, right? Yeah, I was right. Starfield probably on PlayStation 5 will probably be like half the price and then have all the updates and shit, right? You can't make this stuff up. And right now too, how stuff is probably true at this point because nobody at Xbox is denying anything. Nobody's coming out to set the record straight. Nobody's coming out with a statement and nobody's reassuring fans of anything. All they're saying is, you're going to get games everywhere, and there's going to be games on this. And Sarah Bond is putting in blue hearts and blue things and PlayStation this. They're starting to see the money coming in. They're starting to see some money coming in for their games from PlayStation, and that's fantastic. That's keeping the shareholders real happy. But, at the same time, it's a good thing they're making money on the games on PlayStation because what it's cannibalizing right now is sales of Xbox consoles. I've seen a record number of fucking Xboxes put up for fucking sale on the marketplace. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what the number ratio is of Xboxes to PlayStation 5s on sale on the marketplace, but it can't be good. Every time I look, there's somebody selling their Series X or their Series S. And it's like, I've never seen them up for sale this much in my life. It's craziness, man. If I win that X-Men box and controllers, you give me the Gambit controller. Oh, man. Phil is, yeah, well, no, he's listening, but he ain't listening to us at this point. He's been pretty much told the money is good, gaming revenue is up. You got to keep towing this line, and I don't care who you piss off. You're just going to piss off the hardcore guys. But we're still making money, and you keep floating that boat, right? That's what it is for these guys. Again, it's always been, that's the thing. It's always been a business. I get it. People come back, well, it's a business, and they're in a business to make money. So is Sony. Sony's in the business to make money. Sony's not even number one in revenue. But what are they doing that Xbox is not, right? Tell me why. Tell me why this PlayStation 5 is so much more successful than the Xbox. And someone explain it to me then in the chat, please. Tell me why PlayStation 5 is so much more successful in Xbox, especially considering, as I was pointing out in the chat, Xbox got 40 games coming, but they ain't selling consoles. Now you tell me why. Tell me then. If Xbox got all these games coming and nobody's excited, well, people are excited. I mean, the Game Pass crowd are absolutely ecstatic. They're over there fucking jerking off to all these games coming for free in Game Pass. But you're not selling consoles, are you? People that have already got a console might be excited, but get new people on board. Is it happening? Are Game Pass numbers going through the fucking roof? Apparently not, because honestly, it should be at an easy 50 plus odd million at this point. I don't think it is, right? Yeah, the games have been coming since 2018. We're going to get games in 2025 or 2026 that were supposed to be coming out in 2020. The games we got last year were already games that we were supposed to have pre-COVID. Then they all came in after. Everybody's like, oh, got all these games. Yeah, well, those fucking games were already announced 3 or 4 years prior to, and fucking only started coming out after COVID kind of went away from us a little bit, Yeah, I don't really count those games because those were announced and those games were already supposed to be out. Starfield came out last year, but it was supposed to be out in 2020, wasn't it? Something like that. So, tell me how a lot of this stuff makes sense, right? PlayStation has games that people want to play. Xbox is, well, that's just it. PlayStation has games that people want to play. And PlayStation has, Final Fantasy might not sell as much as it used to, Does Halo sell as much as it used to? Times change, games change, the industry changes, the tastes change. And that's fine. There's no guarantee that every game is going to sell 10 million. A game like Spider-Man is going to sell well because it's Spider-Man. It's a universal property that it was also the benefit of a great game. Like, it's a great game, but it's also a universal, well-known property that benefited from strong comic books, strong movies, stuff like that. This is the difference between Blade. Blade is going to do well, but Blade is not going to sell, no matter how good a game that is. It's not going to sell as well as Spider-Man because it's Blade, and it's going to be probably rated mature. So that also limits the audience right off the bat, right? So, and I don't link PC into these equations. Like, Boyle is saying in the chat here, like, for me, when I'm talking about consoles primarily. I'm not talking about PC. PC is its own entity. But, it's the fact that Xbox really started prioritizing the PC. And this is something that Crap did say back in the day. And it goes right back to his argument with Quantum Break. And I guess back then he kind of saw the writing on the wall. When they were adamant about putting Quantum Break on the PC, especially like on day one or whatever it was, kind of alongside the Xbox, this is what he was saying. It's like, you're going to take away momentum from the consoles. And people are, well, who cares about the console? It's not about the console. No, but if you're selling lots of consoles, and Xbox always did well with consoles. It's not that long ago they weren't that far back, right? During the 360 era, it was pretty neck and neck. But why were they selling Xbox 360 consoles? Because at the time, a lot of those 360 games, they weren't on any other consoles. They weren't on PC. You could only play them on the console. Console had the best sort of like environment for playing games in, the party chats and the games, and everything was simple and it worked good. And Xbox had great marketing, and Xbox had lots of great third-party support. And that's all they had to do with the Xbox One. All they had to do was just provide a better system and keep the same fucking game plan, and that system would have been ultra successful. But nope, they had to get some douchebag come in and start talking about TV and start talking about some other shit, and it started with that spiral effect. It started the moment you start, it's like a chef who's really fucking good at making, say, a steak, right? That's your specialty. And the moment he starts cooking every other fucking thing in the book in his restaurant and stops working on his priority or on his specialty, guess what happens to the specialty? The specialty goes downhill, right? The quality goes downhill. And that's kind of what's been happening with Xbox. Is they're throwing so many fucking darts at the board right now that they're not even hitting the bullseye anymore. They're just hitting the fucking side of the wall, and they're hitting the ceiling. They're all over the place. They're trying to figure out what's going to stick. And it's a weird market. There's no guarantees with anything in this market. There's no guarantees on success. I mean, even Fortnite was not successful for the longest time up until they copied PUBG and they went free to play. And free to play games aren't even guaranteed success because there's so many free to play games that they flooded the market right now. What we're going to start seeing pretty soon, if it hasn't started happening already, is a lot of free to play games are going to start to die because there's no way that gamers have the money, the time to keep investing in these free to play models that are, to me, they're such bullshit games because, they make them, they get popular, and all they are then is just a constant update. They never really evolved. They never really turned anything more than what they were. That sort of shit. So, Google tells you that PlayStation 123 million users a month, Xbox 120 million users a month. That's pretty awesome. That's great from a user standpoint. So both are doing very, very well. And active users are great, but if you got, active users, you got 10 million users, but only 2 million of those actually invest in the platform or put money back into it. That's the other thing. If you got, like I said, you got 10 million people playing a free to play game and barely spend any money, is not as good as 4 million people actually playing a game and actually spending full price on a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is subjective, and the stats are very misleading a lot of times. And Xbox only started going with all these active user bullshit when they knew that they didn't have the concrete numbers to back up anything else. Like I said, everything changed the moment they stopped putting out their console numbers. You knew there was a reason behind it because they weren't confident enough to put them out there anymore because they knew they were getting their fucking ass kicked. But the question somebody at Xbox needed to do back in those days was say, why are we getting our ass kicked? What changed a perception of the brand and of the product that people abandon us, that people did not want to buy us. Again, you can't say it any clearer. Nintendo is proof in the pudding that you don't need the best hardware. You just need to have games that fucking can't be found in everything except the refrigerator, right? That's the whole point. That's the thing, man. All right, the XFL will die again and return before Fable comes out. Exactly. Again, and this is another thing. We're tired of these fucking absolutely ancient, these ancient schedules of these games, and that's another reason why Game Pass isn't gaining momentum. Because in order for Game Pass to succeed, right, we're already starting to see more and more third companies are not putting their games in Game Pass, and that's part of the reason that Xbox put so much money into buying Bethesda and to buying Activision Blizzard, was to have more titles and more developers, which means theoretically, the plan is to get more games out on Game Pass in a shorter period of time. That doesn't seem to be the case. And why is that part of the case? Because Xbox has this kumbaya fucking attitude where it's take your time and do whatever you need to get done, and then bring the game out when it's ready. And we see where that gets, right? Oh, we're going to bring the game out when it's ready. So an extra 2 years in development. Guess what? The games come out and they're still not fucking ready, right? So you tell me how any of it makes fucking sense. I'm so tired of the lies and the bullshit. You know, maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but to me, this is all I've been seeing now. It's just, yeah, this game's going to come out here and that's going to be delayed. Guaranteed fucking Indiana Jones will probably be delayed. You know, and then if it does come out on fucking time, it'll come up with some issues. And then, of course, they'll make excuse about those issues. And 7 or 8 months later, those issues will get remedied again because now, you know, oh, there's probably a little pressure on the developer to actually fucking, you know, do some fucking work for a change and get shit done, right? So, you know, well, that's just it. And where's all these games in Game Pass now? So the ABK thing is behind them. Where's the Activision game? Why are we still paying full fucking price for the Activision games? You please tell me. Please tell me. Right? Why are we paying? Why are we paying all this shit? You're paying this money and like the Crash games aren't on there. There's nothing on there. Right? EA is supporting Game Pass more than the fucking publishers that Xbox just bought. Right? Oh, actually, Xbox Series weight. You might actually be right. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just so tired and fed up with the fucking lies and the horse shit, man. Like, it's seriously, it's just crazy. It's just craziness, man. You know, I want to get so excited. And this here's the funny thing, right? A few months ago, we were all starting to get a little bit excited again. With some great announcements. We saw that show, you know, Indiana Jones and this, that, and something else, right? And before we could get excited, or, you know, all that stuff, then they come out like a week later. Yeah, well, we're bringing games to PlayStation. It's like every time Xbox gets us excited about anything, they got to come right back like a month later and fucking burst those fucking balloons every time. Right? Oh, do you really think AB games would cost less? Well, I thought they would actually be bundled into the fucking subscription price. I thought by maybe, you know, you put in your Call of Duty lineup, and guess what? The subscriptions go up, but maybe not. Maybe, like I said, like it's a win-win scenario for Xbox, no matter how you look at it, like I said, because, you know, if they put Call of Duty in Game Pass and subscriptions go up, Microsoft wins. If they don't and people buy the game, Microsoft wins. If Sony players go out and buy the Call of Duty games at full price, Xbox still wins. They're going to win. They're going to get money. There's no question about it. They're going to get all that money, right? You know, it's just interesting what's going on, right? And it's and if you're going to tell me that everything's okay in Xbox land and it's never been better, you're lying to yourself. You know, there's a weird reason that, you know, a guy like Mike Ibarra leaves Xbox, goes to Activision Blizzard, and guess what? As soon as Activision Blizzard gets the official buyout, guess what? He leaves the company. And he's had a few choice words to say about Microsoft, which makes me believe that he didn't like the way things were going to begin with. You also got to look at the fact that Buddy retired Mitsuguchi or whatever the hell he is, the guy from Tango. So that was pretty timely retirement too. Like he retires right after whatchamacallit came out there. What the fuck is that game? That one that just went to PlayStation, a cartoon game. You know what I'm talking about. So he retires right around when that fucking game comes out, right? And who's the other guy just left? Oh, and then now Hellblade is just about ready to come out. Hellblade 2, and one of their lead guys fucking leaves. So you're telling me this is all coincidental that every time a game comes out, oh, look at all the guys that Xbox lost during Halo's launch, right? Joseph Staten came back only to leave. This guy came back only to leave. Fired the director. Bonnie Ross went out. It was just a shit stream of everybody fucking leaving. Shinji Mikami, yeah, thank you. Hi-Fi Rush, thank you. Twisted Sin, right? So is that all coincidental? Is that all just coincidental? All these fucking people left Xbox within the last 2 years? I think not. Right? Xbox One sold 58 million units. Series sales sit around 27 million. Yeah, it didn't help selling Series X's either during COVID when you couldn't find one. All you could find was a friggin' Series S. That was a load of bullshit. I called that out too. Why were Series S's available during COVID? Series S's were available because they knew fucking well if you bought a Series S, it pretty much meant you were going to get Game Pass. Why would you buy a Series S and not get Game Pass? It makes no sense. But if you get the X, it meant that you didn't really need to get Game Pass, or you could go out and technically buy the disc copies or whatever. So yeah. So oh man, trimming the fat. Yeah, well, there's a lot of fat around Xbox these days. I'm not the only guy gaining weight, let me tell you. Anyway, guys, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. It's a crazy time right now. Like I said, it's upsetting because I am a big fan of Xbox. And I wouldn't even be here doing this if I didn't give two shits about Xbox. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing a podcast for an hour and 6 if I was just saying, yeah, whatever, man. It's just he has been really pissed, and then that's a sign right there that something's amiss, because Tim Dog is usually one of those first guys that's preaching from the fucking heavens. But he's just been absolutely, like, he just doesn't know what's the point in making or having a console if basically they don't give two shits anymore, right? They don't give two shits anymore. It's just to them, it's like, whatever. We sell a console, great. If we don't sell anything, great. We'll sell them on PC, that sort of stuff. So I don't know, man. It's just kind of nuts, dude. It's fucking nuts. I don't know. Yeah, right. Like great point, Jez. Xbox spent over 20 years building a brand, bringing in a lot of fans that were spending a shit ton of money. And to do what? To throw it down the toilet is what it feels like, right? You might as well, at this point, go third party, because if you're going to bring, especially like I said, I'm telling you, it's totally over. If Halo, Gears, or Forza touch the PlayStation platform, it is done. It is fucking done, because that is your flagships. When you ask any Xbox fan what's the first couple of games that come to mind, they're going to tell you it's Halo, Gears, and Forza. Right? And if those games go on PlayStation, all fine and dandy. It's great that PlayStation gamers out there world over will get to play some of these fantastic games, and that's a bonus for them. But what does that do for the Xbox community? What that does do for the Xbox brand, yes, it's going to make Xbox some money. Right? But you wouldn't know if Xbox was fucking the brokest fucking company, because they're acting so fucking desperate trying to get money from every Tom, Dick, and Harry. You know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't know if they were the fucking broke ones. They're out there like begging everybody to fucking buy their games by sticking them on everybody's fucking ass at this point, right? Like they're gonna put them on fucking refrigerators if they can make 50 cents off a fucking game. It's stupid. But at the same time, it's like I feel like they're so out to lunch, and they're so they got the blinders on so hard. They're not even listening to any of the people that have been saying, boys, like, it's not a good look, man. This is not a good look. You might want to roll it back a little bit. You don't want to go all in just yet, So they're getting their ass kicked by Nintendo, Microsoft. They have no clue. No, I don't think they do have a clue. They don't have a fucking clue. And to figure out these guys get paid major money to make the most stupid fucking decisions is what baffles me. Baffles me to no degree, right? Baffles me to no degree. Spending all that money. Game Pass. Like I said, man, I'm telling you, Game Pass is great, but they put too many eggs in the one basket. They put too many eggs in that one basket, And it's coming back to kind of bite them in the ass a little bit. And we're always talking about new people that join Game Pass, but what about all the people that are leaving it too? Not everybody's staying in Game Pass. And if you don't think that Game Pass is not going to climb up in money, if it's not going to get exponentially more expensive all the time, just like fucking Netflix, you're fooling yourself there too. It's not going to stay the same price. It's going to keep getting more expensive. And the one thing we can't guarantee at this point is that they're even going to get more games in Game Pass. You're probably going to get a lot more indies in there because they've got nothing to lose. But as far as big AAA stuff, I think that's going to start drying up, brother. I think what's going to happen is Microsoft's going to have to float the whole fucking thing themselves, because eventually I don't think anybody's going to want to put their shit in there. And the more people that go to PlayStation, and there's going to be, trust me, there's already more people heading to PlayStation because of Xbox's fumbles. They're already selling their Xboxes to get a PlayStation. It's happening. Don't tell me it's not, because it is. They're already picking up PlayStations because that's where the most exclusives are. That's where the best variety is. This is why they're buying PlayStations. And guess what? Third parties are going to put more games over there, or they're going to wait months on end to see if it's even worth the while of putting a game on Xbox. This sort of thing. And that I can't disagree with you, Ice Cold. Hellblade is the best looking game. It's an amazing game, and it's a game that I am going to buy on day one with my hard-earned money, But this is the point, though. Where is the promotion for it, though, Ice Cold? This is a game that you should be like. This should be like Spider-Man. This should have posters everywhere. This should have fucking trains with it. This should be like, this is what a game can look and play like on the Xbox. Where is that? Are they going to wait till the last week? And on top of it, somebody's going to walk into a Walmart, try to find a copy, and guess what? There's no copies there. It's only digital, right? So they better have it all over the digital marketplace, right? So, yeah, they've got some games, and that's fine, Ice Cold. They've got some games. Nobody's denied that Xbox don't have games and don't have games coming. But what's the point? If you're going to have 100 games and PlayStation has 5, but everybody wants the 5 on PlayStation more than the 100 on Xbox, what does that tell you? It tells you you're either making bad games or your marketing's really bad, or maybe it's a mix of both 1 and 2, right? So, I don't see, all I've seen is a few tweets coming out of Ninja Theory. And usually they're not even like talking about the game. They're talking about the mental bullshit or whatever else that goes along with it. It's like these weird like things to promote the game, but not the game directly itself. You know what I mean? So, like, where's all that hype? Where's all the shit? Remember back in the day when Microsoft used to get like The Rock to come out and promote shit and all that sort of stuff? Where's all that fucking cool stuff now? Right? Yeah, man. I tell you, that's just it though. If everybody dropped Game Pass, it's nail in the coffin, dude. Right there, you can end it right now. Everybody quits Game Pass. The only way Game Pass is going to succeed is if they're going to put it on other consoles. If other consoles let them put it on as an app or whatever, they might stand a chance to catch up or gain ground. But if it's going to stay exclusive to PC and Xbox, it's going to stagnate. And this is what I keep saying. The more consoles sold means more Game Pass subscriptions, means more games, means more marketing, means more third party. It's nature of the beast. That's why the 360 was so attractive to people to put games on it, because everybody had a 360. But you're gonna market games, and you're gonna be, oh well, you got 27 million Xboxes out there, and there's a chance that only 5% of the people that own those Xboxes are going to buy the game. Well, that doesn't amount to very many copies. You got 100 what do you call it? If you got 100 million consoles out there and 5 or 10% are going to buy the game, that's a hell of a lot more copies than 5% of 27 million. It's just fucking math, right? Xbox will forever be the shooter box. Yeah, definitely. And see, that in itself kind of hurt things because for a long time, Halo was the definitive shooter. And then it was it kind of was Call of Duty, and then it kind of stayed Call of Duty. But the thing is, a lot of those games, and this kind of helped and hurt Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty hurt itself by putting out a game every year, right? Because the reputation's tarnished a little bit. But Call of Duty also helped itself by putting out a game every year. Do you know what I mean? Because it always stayed top of mind. Right? It always stayed top of mind because it was always out there, right? And this is the thing, like, it's like an actor or a movie. If you take too long away, people forget about you, and that sort of thing, right? And you're not top of mind anymore. So um, Call of Duty kind of kept itself relevant by being out every single year, right? So I don't know, man. Pork bag. Who's begging for anything? I ain't fucking begging for shit. I don't care if a single Xbox game ever comes to fucking PlayStation. I'm not asking for anyone. I'm not going to go up and buy Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to buy Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not buying an Xbox games on PlayStation, period. No more than I'd buy a PlayStation game on my Xbox. It's just not how it works for me, right? Like, I'm going to buy Hellblade 2, and it's going to be on Xbox. So even if it comes to PlayStation, I'm not buying it on PlayStation, right? So I don't know, guys. I just don't know what's going on right now. Maybe the picture gets clearer for us in June when they do the Xbox showcase. There's a lot of speculation going around that they're going to bring more big titles over to the competitors, and would not surprise me in the least. If it doesn't happen, great. I think it's not if it happens, it's when. And I definitely think it's coming. It's just a matter of time. So just brace yourselves, man. I guess, that's all I can tell you is brace yourself. Like I said, and if you're entirely happy with the Xbox ecosystem, then so be it. Go for it, man. It's your money. I'm not telling you what to do with anything. But I just don't know how anybody anybody who's been with Xbox, especially since the beginning, if you're going to sit there and tell me that you're not slightly disappointed and in your heart feel like, God, what is Xbox doing? I don't believe you. I think deep down, and you know what proves it to me? Because look at the excitement around the Xbox community when the Activision Blizzard deal went ahead. Are you going to tell me that every Xbox fan stood up and shouted from the heavens because we were like, yes, they're going to put games on PlayStation? The whole point of buying them was that we're like, wow, Xbox just gearing up for the future and just hammer and nailed and bolstered things down, right? We're one of the biggest publishers in the game today, bolstered it down, right? So everybody was excited. We all knew all the podcasts that went out and did this shit when this happened. We all saw everybody in the community, especially if you're an Xbox-centric gamer, absolutely jumping for joy, shouting for the fucking heavens. For what? Now it's like, I feel like the biggest idiot. It's like, because you're just going to fucking turn around, you're going to put all those games on the competitor anyway. You did nothing for yourself. Well, I guess they did, because no matter how you look at it, and perhaps that was the plan. Perhaps they thought they were going to get a lot more support for the console when this deal fell through. But the problem was there were no games to drive the console in the first place. And until they put the day and date games of the Call of Duty stuff and everything on there right off the bat, like, nobody's seeing the fruits of this deal yet, right? Nobody's seeing and what's going on, Dark Zone? Good to see you, man. What's going on, Talis Ray? Good to see you in the chat. Nobody's seeing the fruits of the labor, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Right now, it's just a business deal. But you can't tell me that people didn't get excited. They weren't getting excited for the Activision Blizzard deal, no more than the Bethesda one. We weren't getting excited because we were like, oh, Xbox is just going to become this universal brand and it's going to put their games everywhere. No, not a person got excited for that. And don't fucking lie to me if you did. You got excited because what you thought was Xbox bought these brands to bolster their own brand, to make Game Pass an almost, fucking like, to make Game Pass an almost instant buy, right? Kind of thing. Like, we thought with these deals, like, Game Pass would be a no-brainer, right? But yeah, like I said, we haven't seen hardly anything come to Game Pass from Activision Blizzard yet. The games are still on the store. They're still pretty much full price, which is weird. And maybe we never see the Call of Duty come to the store because they know they can sell it for $90 and get away with it. So that's where we're at. But we all got excited because we thought Xbox was bolstering their position for the future and would definitely make a very strong push console-wise. And that would be good, especially for Xbox gamers. I'm not worried about what a PlayStation fucking gamer gets or what a Nintendo fucking gamer gets. They get enough fucking shit. They keep everything off of Xbox. So as an Xbox gamer, I want them to keep shit off of PlayStation. You know what I mean? I've got all three systems. If I want a game, I'll buy it for whichever one. That's not a problem for me. But that's the whole thing is fucking these guys, basically money hatting in for Sony to go against them. Like Phil said, 30% of the fucking Xbox games sold. I mean, they take money off of Xbox to get those games, right? I'm telling you, man, like if Microsoft had the balls to fucking just put Minecraft on Xbox exclusively like a couple years ago, man, that shit would have turned things around. I'm telling you, but they didn't. They didn't. So, yeah. So, oh, the ponies like to lie, man. There's no question about that. There's lots of them in this community that, like I said, they move the goalposts and lie, and we've called out a billion of them all the time. And I know some of the biggest offenders. So, like I said, if that's your point of view, if you think I'm a pony, you have right at her, man. But I look, this whole fucking podcast was done because I'm not a pony, right? It's because I love Xbox, and I'm just super disappointed. But their course of action, man, their course of action is not, And again, I'm just one person. But if enough of us stood together, if enough of us spoke loudly, there is, and most importantly, if enough of us spoke with our wallets, not just coming on here and talking about you, but if we speak with our fucking wallets, that we all stop buying Game Pass, we all start demanding shit back in the stores, we all demand more traditionalism in their approach, Microsoft could reflect course. Nothing is over till it's over. They have the money and the resources, but they need the backing of their biggest people to say, this is how we want to run this. And if you trust us, and the fans trust us, the money will come. The money and the games will come. And it's that simple. But nobody here trusts Xbox at this point. Nobody here. Tell me you trust Xbox. I don't trust Sony either. Fuck, I don't trust any of them. But I really don't trust Xbox right now because everything they've been saying seems like 2 months later they turn around and they go exactly against everything they said. And I feel like when they do give a statement, there's always carefully worded. They got to think about what they're saying because they don't want to make sure something slips, or they want to make it again, what we call blanket statements. So they're trying not to get themselves in trouble. So, well, totally. I mean, I totally agree. Like if Microsoft had their way, and if I was Microsoft, I would have totally done that. I would have totally pissed off everybody. I would have made Call of Duty exclusive. And they never, if they had made Call of Duty exclusive to their console, they'd never have to worry about a console sale or an Xbox or Game Pass money again. But of course, the FCC got involved in that. And that's why, they have to put Call of Duty on PlayStation for at least 10 years. After 10 fucking years, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Maybe there'll be no consoles in 10 years, right? Oh, man, looks ice cold. Look, I've been eating pretty well on Xbox too, man. I've had some great games, and I've been playing games on it for a while now. It's me. I mean, I'm one of the few guys who actually did enjoy Redfall. I didn't think it was the best game in the world. It's even better now since it was patched, but I actually did enjoy Redfall. It wasn't the game that, it was cracked up to be, but it wasn't bad either. It was fun. It was fun with friends. Like I said, I'm super excited for Hellblade 2. I'm going to buy it day one, that's not a problem. I'm not going to not go out and spend my money, but I'm going to spend a lot less of it, put it that way. So, I just can't get into PC. I applaud you guys who've gone to PC and the guys who loop. I just can't do it. Look, I've said from the beginning, I like the simplicity of a console. I like how generally things are set up to run a certain way when we're right out of the box. But this is something in gaming that has to stop as well. I feel that when a game comes out, there shouldn't be optional settings for anything. The game should just come out and run the way it's meant to fucking run, right? This is the whole point. If you want it to have optional settings, that should be for the PC guys. The console guys should get the best version of whatever the console can handle, period. I shouldn't have to go into a setting and turn this on or turn this off. It should be the game that should run just like the old days. You popped it in and that was it. You started the game, you adjusted your difficulty, you hit A to start, and away it goes. That to me, that's what console gaming should be. Not performance modes and resolution modes and some other fucking modes. If you want modes, then go to PC where you've got the power to kind of handle it. The developers should basically say, we're going to either make the game with full resolution and it runs at 30 frames and that's the best it's going to be, because, or we're going to give you the 60 frames mode because that's what most people want, and you're just going to have to deal with the lower resolution, but no modes, right? I like the simplicity. I like the infrastructure. There's a lot of different things to like about console. And of course, there's tons of stuff to love about the PCs as well. Like that's John 907. Good to see you, man. Yes, it has been a while. And I'm still in the community, man. I'm still out there. I just stepped away from podcasting. I haven't done a whole lot of it the last little while. I could tell people I'm still open to jumping on and doing some guest work if the need arises. But I don't suspect I'll get a lot of invitations from anyone in the community anymore outside of maybe Wilmy Hood from time to time, and the game complainers, and some guys who still have some semblance of respect for me and my opinions. A lot of guys don't, because I'm not, what do you call it? I guess I don't, I hate to say it, because I do respect and applaud a lot of the YouTubers out there. I mean, I love a lot of the guys, are awesome, but I've basically seen that if you don't toe a certain line, or you don't toe a certain standard, and you don't speak their level of bullshit, or you don't go along with their agenda, then you're not going to be on their podcast. And that's simple, because I used to get invites for a lot of podcasts, and then once I started getting a little bit more critical and my honesty started coming out, I could start to see the writing on the wall. I see how guys in their social circles are saying, don't bring Newf Nukem on the podcast, man, because he stirs the pot a little bit. You know what I mean? So if you're not on the tractor, I'm on my Xbox. Man, my Xbox is sitting right in front of me right now, and it is still my Xbox that's in my room in front of me, not my PlayStation. My PlayStation is downstairs, and I don't use it as much as my Xbox, and that's a fact. Xbox is my primary console, right? Like I said, I guess, guys, I'm almost 2 hours in here, I think, and I've said what I'm going to say, and there's nothing that's going to change anything today, tomorrow. But I hope maybe for some of you, you kind of realize that you're not alone as well, that you have very similar feelings and thoughts on the whole matter like I do. And there's just so many, to me, there's just way more questions than there are answers surrounding Xbox and the brand and where they are moving forward, I guess a lot more will come clear between, like I said, the showcase now in June and perhaps by the end of the year. I'm curious to see if they're going to launch another console down the road here eventually, and what their strategy is going to be with that. Because honestly, like how many of these things do they even think they're going to sell if they don't give us a reason to buy it? Why buy the next Xbox if they're not giving you? I'm not spending $600 or $700 Canadian on another piece of hardware if they can't justify why it's a good upgrade. Right? Oh, the government's always full of shit. That's a fact. That's a fact, right? I'm not trying to fuck with anybody's shit, and I'm not telling you my opinion's right and you're wrong. I'm not telling anybody that. I'm not the one that's on X attacking people and calling them names. But I can't have an opinion on X without so many people saying shit to me, right? Like they just run me down like I'm dog shit, and I'm just being honest. And some of what I'm saying is right, but that's the thing though. And I guess that's what one good YouTuber always said is, people are angry, and the people are angry with you when you're doing something right. Or bottom line is you're telling the truth, and most people just can't handle the truth anymore. When you start speaking the truth, it starts hitting those nerves, right? And people deep down inside, they want to think that everything is hunky-dory. They want to think, it's kind of like some people, in a relationship, they got an abusive relationship, but they keep trying to come up with reasons to accept it or to keep it going. But deep down inside, they're not happy. They know that things have changed. It's very similar to that. And I think we're all to some degree in a relationship with these companies and the brands. And I get it. It's not the most serious thing in life. It's not, life isn't going to end tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. And games aren't just going to drop and disappear tomorrow. I totally get all those sides of the story. But, I think there is a certain amount of loyalty, and there's a certain amount of, a certain amount of stuff that comes with all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like why it didn't have to change. I mean, the console war stuff, yes, the console war stuff can be kind of funny and overblown, But there's no question about it. All of us that are in the YouTube community or in this community, we're all, a little enamored by it. There's no question about it. I mean, some people's podcasts have become successful simply because of the console war stuff. And I've never gotten really into that. That's probably the reason that's part of the reason my channel never got all that big, because I didn't really partake in the console war side of things. And because I'm almost a little too neutral. I'm not one way or the other for most people. That's a problem they've always had, because Nukem straddles both fences pretty well here. I got both consoles. I criticize both, and I compliment them both when necessary, right? I'm just being honest. And again, my honesty stems out of the way I feel about something. And I'm strongly passionate about the brand, as I've said a billion times, because I've invested so many years and so many dollars, and I've always loved Xbox. It was the console that brought me back into gaming. The feeling I got when Gears of War came out on the 360, that saved my relationship with gaming. If it wasn't for that game, I might not even be gaming today. I just don't know how things have turned so much. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Could you imagine like McDonald's all of a sudden turned against their fans that love their French fries? One of the reasons people still eat at McDonald's is because of French fries, right? I love their French fries. Maybe you guys in the chat love their French fries. I know most people that I know actually love McDonald's French. Could you imagine though if McDonald's said, you know what, French fries are just not the way to go anymore, and we're not really going to sell them, or we're only going to sell them at select locations just because we think we can make more money if we sold fucking, I don't know, rice chips or something? Do you know what I mean? The whole path started because real gamers could speak their mind freely against the system and against the companies. And you're absolutely right, John. That's part of the reason a lot of us got here. And in some cases, podcasts have become invaluable. I mean, I know that there are lots of executives who watch some of us guys and listen, and they're taking some of this feedback back. I've been told on occasion that some of the bigwigs have listened to my podcast, and they have listened to things that I said. And, maybe they're stopping and they're going, you know what? He is right about certain things. And this is coming from an old school gamer who has invested time and money and emotion into our product. You shouldn't toss that stuff away. You shouldn't toss that stuff away without thinking twice over it, because again, we're the kind of fans, the people that are in this chat right now are the kind of fans that spend a lot of money on these products. There's nobody in this chat right now that I can say as a casual gamer that has an Xbox and plays like 3 fucking games on it, right? Everybody that's here probably has a vast library. You probably have Game Pass, and you probably have hundreds, if not almost thousands, of probably digital games or collection of games, if I'm correct, right? So if you're nodding yes to these questions, then I cannot see how you are not somewhat emotionally invested the same way that I am, right? Absolutely. Xbox got us in some dark times. And we always invested in Xbox. We didn't invest in Xbox because it was a brand. We invested in Xbox because it literally was the best place to play some of the best games on the planet. And they always emphasize that. They always emphasize we have the power. We have these great games. We have these amazing franchises, and but along the way, it's just like from the heads to the studios, it feels like something is not right. And I feel like they're listening to the wrong people. And I feel like they're not taking a lot of this feedback from gamers like ourselves seriously enough. I understand that the business changes, and I understand there are certain things you have to do to either, to the trend or buck the curve or whatever. But I also believe you have to do everything gradually. You also need to get lots of customer feedback before you make these massive decisions that are going to affect a lot of people and how they consume or how they buy your products, right? And just because one company does something doesn't mean another company has to do it. This is what I'm saying with Sony. Like Sony has had to buckle a little bit, but they haven't been. Sony is still kind of coming up and going, we know the value of exclusives. It's why they buy these games to keep them off of Xbox, because they know that they are the bigger brand. They know they sell more consoles, and they sell more consoles because they have more exclusive titles. They have these great titles that now have gotten lots of notoriety. And then it becomes mind share. Like if you're going to school and 8 out of your 10 friends have got a PlayStation, well, anybody who doesn't have a PlayStation yet, guess which system they're probably buying? It's a PlayStation. And that doesn't even have anything to do with the games. That has to do more with their friends who have one, right? It's back in the day, like most of my friends had a 360. So guess what? Anybody else who was buying a console said, well, what console you guys got? And you go, well, you got a 360. Well, I think I'll get a 360. That was their first choice. They might have bought a PlayStation after the fact, but they started out and they bought those consoles, right? So you see how this works, right? And it's just, like I said, I feel like there are too many people in this community that they're just kumbaya. They're okay with everything. They're drinking the Kool-Aid, and deep down inside, I know they're pissed off, but they don't want to ruin their channels, or they don't want to say in too much because it'll piss off the upper head. Like I said, when you start becoming friends with these people and you think that they're your friends, which you're technically not, you start creating issues for yourself, right? So that's where you are, right? So, and that's where I am. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. But I think it's clear that the Xbox that we knew and loved is no longer that same entity. And, basically at this point in time for me, everything's just up in the air. I don't know how much more money I'm going to invest in, but I can damn well tell you, I hope a lot of you guys got me as friends on the PlayStation, because you're not going to see me on Xbox a whole lot over the next while. I'll be moving to PlayStation, and if I do continue with community game nights, guys, I'm going to tell you it's probably going to be PlayStation moving forward, because I'm not paying for Xbox Live Game Pass Ultimate to fucking play games online. I'm just not doing it. I'm not paying for their shit. I'm paying for Sony shit and getting less shit on Xbox. Because at least with Sony shit, I'm paying $120 for the year, and I'm getting some fantastic free games, and I'm getting fucking nothing with Xbox. Right? So there you go. Right? Actually, no, yeah, it's $120. It's over 200. So if I pay for the Game Pass Core, which is the equivalent of the PlayStation Essential, I get nothing other than those 20 games. Right? Whatever games they pre-selected is all I get. I have to get Game Pass Ultimate in order to get the full list of games, and that's $19 a month. Multiply that by 12. That's $200 and almost $50 a year. So $250 a year to play games on Xbox versus $120 on PlayStation. Both expensive, but I'll take the PlayStation. Thank you. Yeah, isn't that funny how the Xbox games are getting higher scores now that they're on PlayStation, but they were shafting that? Isn't that fucking retarded? Honest to God. You can get fucked in the streets for free. No need to play Xbox for it. You're right on that, man. Yeah. I'm trying to cut back on the chips. I got to try to lose weight. Yeah, you and me both, brother. I got to lose some weight this summer. So, you know, but I will tell you this: I'm not buying Xbox games on PlayStation. That's just sort of against my theory of speaking. I'm not going to give money back to Xbox, period, for putting their games on a competitor. I feel if I'm going to play those games, I'm going to play them on Xbox. Bottom line, plain and simple, right? So, yep, like I said, and I'm going to say this one last time before the show ends. I'm not against Game Pass. I'm not against anybody who buys it. If you love it and you're getting your money's worth out of it, then by all means, man, go for it. What I am saying is Xbox has put too much emphasis on it, and they need to get back to, utilizing the hardware and bringing out fantastic games that make people want to buy Game Pass, make people want to buy the console first, and then worry about the PC and all the other bullshit. Just, again, it's all about marketing. It's marketing and messaging, and then delivering at home and bringing out these great games. And no question about it, they need a couple of fantastic games that are going to set the world on fire. They can't, all these high publicity games with this fucking, coming out with ho-hum reviews or, even getting ho-hum reaction. Because I don't care how good most people thought Starfield was when they first played the first week. Most people are like, oh, Starfield's the best fucking game I've ever played in my life. Guess what? A month or two later, I don't really feel anybody was saying that. It's kind of like you're starting to see it for what it was, a game with tons of potential, but much like Sea of Thieves and every other game that came out with an Xbox logo on it was severely lacking and definitely disappointing and had, like I said, potential. But we're not paying all this money for potential anymore. We want results, and we want games that feel like they've got story and they got great characters, and they're polished to a certain extent where, they feel AAA. I think we'll see a bit of that now with Hellblade 2. I really do, because it's been in development for a long time, and I trust Ninja Theory. They seem to be like masters of the craft. And what's going on, my brother? The Mag is in the house. There you go, my brother. Mag, how you doing, man? A lot of people here listening to me chirp tonight. And we got one guy in the chat here who's been going off, calling me a big old pony because just telling it like it is, or that sort of stuff. And that's fine. Obviously, like I said, a lot of people that call me ponies have not listened to enough of my podcast or know who the fuck that I am. So Xbox fucked me in $70 worth of reward points. Yeah, like, what's up with that? Another thing that Xbox is slowly but surely kind of fucking people on, right? These Xbox rewards. I used to hear people always talking about how the rewards were so good, and now they got them scrolled back and scaled back so bad now that it's going to take you fucking eternity to get any. So what was the point in that, right? Yeah, we're all pony bots now, Meg. So welcome to the club, brother. Hopefully I'll see you in a couple weeks. Oh, man. This podcast is making my throat super dry tonight. Yeah. Well, I agree with you on that one. I agree with you on that one, Game Complainers. And don't worry, like I said, me, Mag, and Titan have all agreed that when the need exists, we'll try to come out and do a couple of impromptu podcasts once in a while. Bring the old Gaming After Dark crew back. But it's when the timing's right. And I don't know, with the way things are going right now, me and Mag might have very staunch and very different opinions than Titan. I think Titan's still on board the Xbox can do no wrong kind of camp, but I think me and Mag have seen the writing on the wall, and we've invested a lot in their stuff only to kind of feel like we've been getting spit on over this length of time. And I think a lot of us, that's kind of how we feel like. I feel like we've given so much to Xbox, and they just they're not really giving back. Or certainly, like I said, they're too focused on. I've always said they're too focused on making money in other places than just accepting it and getting it from the people that were their bread and butter to begin with. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of these, some of these food chains, how they're always trying to change their recipe to bring in new people. But with saying that, if you get away from your bread and butter, if you start treating the people that built your business as second-class customers or whatever, and Maggie can probably attest to this, right? You want to keep your old school customers happy, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who help build your business. They're the ones who spread the reputation about your food being fantastic. They're the ones that come back time and time again. But Xbox is so concerned on capturing that, that, like I said, they're capturing that Fortnite money, that lightning in a fucking bottle, that they don't seem to realize that they're losing millions of dollars with people like us who spend a ton of money in their infrastructure, in their ecosystem. Again, it's not just a game, and it's not just a microtransaction. We're the people that spend $70, $80 on a game. We're the people that buy multi $70 or $80 games in the run of a year. We are the people that buy multiple controllers. We are the people that buy the console on day one when they're the most expensive. We're the people like me. I'm the guy who bought PSVR 2 on day one, and I love it. You know what? So there you go. Like, we spend money. We spend hard-earned money and our time to fucking do this shit, And, then like I said, that Fortnite's a problem in itself. While it's one of the most popular games on the planet, the problem is with that model is everybody's copying that model. And, it's very hard to take away fans from these very popular things, and they're so entrenched into those games now. They're like I said, more than a game, it becomes a social and cultural phenomenon with those things. And there's only so much time, there's only so much space, there's only so much money that can go into anything, right? And what I hate most about Fortnite is I feel like I'm all for Fortnite and success, but I'd like to see them do a new Fortnite, a game that feels and looks very different from what we see. I'm tired of all these free-to-play games that don't push the envelope at this point. All they do is just, here's another update, here's another update. 10 years later, it's fucking 50 fucking updates. The game is still practically the fucking same, except the skins get more expensive and all that bullshit, right? All these free-to-play models. We saw this when it came. I saw it was coming. It's like they're gonna kill the industry because, again, like I said, it's an easy bait. They bait people in with the free copy, and then they rope people in then by getting all these fucking skins, and it's, and even my buddies have gotten into it. Guys that are like, man, I can't believe you're buying all these overpriced, $15 and $20 skins, right? And it's like, man, I bought one or two myself, and I still feel ripped off. But they're like buying loads and loads of these fucking things, right? So. But anyway, guys, Xbox is like a German chick. You love her, but she don't love you back. I'm laughing my fucking ass off. What can we say, guys? What can we say? Like, we're all here. We're all in the same boat. I feel like it's an uphill battle. I feel like the current is against us right now, and there's nothing we can do about it because the corporate suits are running Xbox, and they're not concerned about their reputation of long-term fans. They're just worried about making money, and if that means putting their fucking games on your refrigerator or on the back of your fucking Fruit of the Loom underwear, they're going to try their best to do it. And I'd say they're doing a pretty goddamn successful job at it right now. It's ridiculous. Like I said, they don't need games everywhere. They just need good games where they matter most, and that's on Xbox. Plain and simple. Good games where they matter most on Xbox. Make the console relevant by making it important again. They're not going to do that, though. They can't turn back the clock. So that's where we're at on this. So, like I said, man, just at the end of the day, guys, enjoy gaming. Speak with your wallet. Because that's the only thing that matters, and that's the only thing that speaks volumes is speaking with that wallet. And I'm going to speak with mine at every chance I get. I'm not going to change the industry, but fucking damn well I'm going to go to bed happy at night knowing that I stand up for what I believe in, and then I'm going to spend my money on stuff that's going to make me happy. And like I said, it's my integrity at the end of the day, right? My integrity at the end of the day means more to me than selling out for anybody. And like I said, I love Xbox. Love where they've been. Don't necessarily love where they've been going. But we'll see how that happens. So we'll see what goes. So anyway, guys. No, good games, man. A good game would be like, just, bring back the next Gears. Let's hope the next Gears is just, it's just an amazing game. Gears is one of the few reasons that I'll hang on to the brand. Like I said, they're going to start putting Gears on PlayStation. That's really going to change my perception of Xbox and the brand for sure. But everybody that's hung out with me and played games, and people that supported my podcast, and people that at least tolerated and listen to my opinions regardless of whether you agree or you disagree, and we're at least being able to keep it civil about it without tossing out names. I appreciate that as well. And that's it. My voice is just about expired here right now. My throat is really dry. Might be the bedroom that I'm in, but hopefully you enjoyed at least my opinions, because I know I haven't been out there very much to talk about any of this kind of stuff, and there's been a lot going through my brains. What are you going to do when Spider-Man goes everywhere? It will happen. No, I definitely don't think Spider-Man's going everywhere unless Sony's going out of business. And the only thing that's going to happen right now is a spiral effect where Sony, if anything, is going to start to gain more ground, because they're going to start picking up a lot of disgruntled Xbox customers is what's going to happen. There's going to be more Xbox guys buying a PlayStation. And if there's more Xbox games going over to PlayStation, they're just going to play them there. They're not going to need an Xbox for anything. And if you don't put great games in Game Pass to entice them to get Game Pass, then they're not going to need Xbox for basically nothing. So, I'm not going to play Sea of Thieves or Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation. I got both those games on Xbox, and that's where they'll be played if I play them at all. But consoles are not growing. No, man. No, I don't agree with you at all. Consoles are still doing well. Look at the Nintendo Switch. It's still selling like crazy. There are spikes, there are lulls, and it's always been that way. There's months every now and then. And of course, this year is an anomaly year because we're coming out of COVID now where things are starting to settle a little bit. So the numbers are more reflective of reality than they were in the 2 years of COVID. And I work in retail, so I know how that works. Like our bike sales, right? Our bicycle sales went through the fucking roof in those 2 years. Why? Because people couldn't do anything else. They had to get out of the house. They had to do something. So they go, oh, we're having the best couple of years of our life in bicycles. That wasn't reflected that bicycles were this amazing thing that everybody needed one or something. It was just because of the moment. And consoles were no different. All the consoles saw a huge jump in demand and sales for a short period of time because of the COVID. So now that we're sort of out of that phase and things have settled, the numbers are kind of stagnating a little bit because they were so high. But it's not necessarily that they're so down. It's just hard. Like I said, those numbers during those years got very inflated. So everything seemed a little bit, and the consoles are going to be around a long time. Otherwise, why would they keep making them? Consoles were dinosaurs and nobody wanted them. No, lots of people want it because lots of people don't want to invest in a complicated, overpriced PC. Most people don't have the tech savvy to do that. They don't have the money to constantly upkeep with the upgrades that PCs often require. And a lot of us just love the simplicity of starting it up and playing games. So no, consoles are not dead, are far from it. Consoles, it just takes, like I said, just another great console to come in. And the other reason consoles, guys, nobody's really talking about this, but another reason why consoles have not taken off quite as much as in the past is because the prices on the consoles haven't come down either. Everybody's still selling them for nearly like full price. And this is another thing that we've never seen before. I mean, in the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, and even in the Xbox One and PS4, we saw the prices come down. We saw a few different revamps, and things came down a little bit. But this time, like, they kept everything up. Nintendo's, I don't think the Switch has gone down at all, has it? Like, since it came out. So soon you'll be playing games while you piss. There'll probably be a little interactive screen in all the urinals pretty soon, where you just piss and you'll operate the character. You know, piss on the stars and watch Mario jump or something. Well, that's a point right there. Switch up Mario and Zelda, and they will always help serve their consoles. That's right. So Xbox just needs to be more consistent, and this is something else. If you look at Mario games, they may look different, but they vastly played virtually the same for years, right? Kind of have the same aesthetic, almost feel the exact same way. No matter if you pick up one Mario from the other, they kind of feel the same. What's one thing with Halo that's very different than other franchises is they keep fucking with Halo. Halo feels so different from every single version of the game I played. Go back and play Master Chief Collection, and every game in that fucking series feels different than the last one. Nothing is the same. The speed is different in one game. The power moves are different in another. The weapons are different in another. Every game is different. When you go into a Call of Duty game, the only thing that changes are the graphics, but everything else feels exactly the same. Like, fuck, you play Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, they fucking feel the exact same way. Like, bottom line is a Call of Duty, and this is why it's been so fucking successful. They change the story modes, and they change up a little bit in the multiplayer, but it's vastly the same game year in and year out. They don't fuck with the formula. Halo fucks with the formula. Every time they make a Halo game, they fuck with the formula. They fuck with Halo Infinite by putting it in an open, stupid world, which was bland and had no cohesive story. It just felt wrong, right? So there you go, man. You don't need $1,000 PCs to play games. You certainly don't. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to buy some entry-level PC. Let's see how the top games run on that. I guarantee you, a top game on a $500 PC doesn't run as good as a top game on a $500 console. Probably not even close. Plus, I love playing on a big screen TV, right? So that's it, man. But anyway, so guys, like I said, I'm going to type it in the chat. If you haven't added me on the consoles already, I'll add my gamer tags here. Make sure you do. Especially on the PlayStation, if you don't have me there already. Here's the PlayStation. Because I said I'm going to be on there a lot more often here moving forward. God, I hate this small keyboard I'm typing on here. All right, so that's my that's the PlayStation tag coming up on the screen here. Noof Nukem 76. So if you're on PlayStation, you can add that right there. You can add me on the PlayStation Network, and let's go play some games. I will still have an active membership on there for quite some time, but like I said, my Game Pass runs out on Xbox, and I'm just keeping the standard free version, which would pretty much mean I'll just be able to play free to play bullshit over there. So, there you go. Helldivers 2, baby. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready to roll. Just bought Stellar Blade 2. Can't wait to fire that up and play it. I've fuck the Blade. Hey man, if you don't like PlayStation, that's all cool, man. I'm not hating on you for it. It's all cool. If you only got one console, that's cool, man. You got two, you got three. They've all got pros and cons, brother. I tell you that right now. But in the meantime, guys, I'm gonna head out just under the 2 hour mark. Can't thank you all enough. Nearly 30 fucking people in here for an impromptu a podcast that just kind of came out of nowhere. And no, I'm not shy on an opinion, Ozzy. Not at all, man. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong and all that stuff. So thanks a million, RWK. It's a pleasure, man. Sorry I'm not going to do my usual skits. This is not a usual podcast, and as I said, my voice probably can't take it, but I will be back again soon. Like I said, if anybody wants me on a guest spot on a podcast, just give me a heads up notice, and I'll do the best I can to make it, and all that stuff. And Perry, like I said, I'll try to be sending out my console board to you soon so you can get that fixed up and all that. Hopefully I'll find a way to pay you out for that. So, and I'll send a return address back to you. So $1.99 coming in from RWK on the Super Chats. It's a great show, new. If it's fire, thanks a million, man. Appreciate it. But that's it, guys. Just trade Helldivers 2 to get Stellar Blade. I bet you do. That was what you call a bouncing upgrade right there. Hey, Mental 9R, what's going on, brother? Good to see you here, man. Yeah, you did miss the whole thing, you old crony. Yeah, it was an impromptu thing, man. I never advertised this. Just kind of came in and wanted to get some opinions off my chest with everything I've been reading and following. And it's just been nuts. The Game Complainers, he drops a $10 into Super Chat, and he says, "The legend." Yes, well, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Always appreciate the support, brother. You're one of a kind, man, and you're awesome. Everybody in this chat right now, you guys are your family. You're awesome. I appreciate all the support. Like I said, your opinions. Like I said, you don't always agree with me, and that's cool. That's I don't want this to be an echo chamber. Just got to keep it civil, right? See you, Audible Fart. Good to see you, man. Take care. We'll catch you guys on the next one. I promise I'll be around sooner. And let's go play some games. So have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you on the next time.